reload a 10 gauge, and I have some very simple tools that I made myself. I got this loading block. It's got a hole in it and a circle, and when I put the shotgun hole on top of this piece of steel here inside that circle, I know that the primer lines up with that hole and I can knock it out of there. And I just use this old nail that I found. I just ground the shape I wanted on the tip of that, and I'll just stick down in there, and I'll use a hammer and knock that out. If you don't have a hammer, maybe you carry this with you on a hunt. You can just use a rock. And then there's also some extra room next to this hole, and that's just to have a flat surface to install the primers. So I put the primer on there, and I put the hull on top of that, and I have a wooden dowel that I put inside, and I'll just push down on this and give it a little help with my hammer or rock, and it works surprisingly well. So now this is primed, and we'll have to put some powder in there, and I'll flip my card around here and take a look at my 10 gauge data. Okay, this one is going to be a buck and bowl load. So I'm going to put 3.5 drums in there. Where it go? There. There we go. So, and then we're going to put 4 cards in this one as well. And I didn't have a store-bought wad cutter like I had for the 16 gauge, so I just I found a piece of pipe with the right dimension, and I just used my belt sander and made this, and that worked surprisingly well. So we'll put them in there. How many was that? Oh, we'll put one more. And then I have 35 caliber buckshot. Put 3 of them in there, and then the round hole on top. And then later on I'll put some beeswax on top. And I have 3 more here that I already done. One with round ball, one with shot, and one with buckshot. So okay, let's see if there's anything else we should mention. These 16 gauge brass are from Magtech, and they're easy to find and they're inexpensive. The primer pockets are too small really on these, so and you can get like this to dig some brass out of there to make it fit. Now I'll just put a casing on there to have a handle, and if you buy these Magtech hulls, you should be prepared to do that, because they're really too tight. These 10 gauge casings there are they are from Track the Wolf, and they're excellent. Okay, there we go. I'll put the loading data down in the comment section, not in the description. I have loaded shotgun shells in the same manner before, but they were 12 gauge. So this is my first time with 16 gauge and 10 gauge. So don't you go using my loading data and blaming me if something goes wrong. You start, well, it depends on a lot of things. On the gun, of course. I've seen some older shotguns, and they're very lightweight, and kind of makes you wonder if you need to be a little extra careful with how you load them shells and things like that. But black powder thrives under pressure, and different things affect that pressure. Of course, the amount of powder affects the pressure, and we talked about the type of powder, which affects the pressure, and also the weight of the shot load or the round ball or whatever. The heavier the payload of lead, the more pressure you're going to get. But also keep in mind that the wadding, or these cards that we put in there, or these fiber cushions that a lot of people use, that's going to affect pressure as well. And if you just put one card down in there with on top of the powder, you're going to notice that you're going to be able to feel less recoil, and it's going to sound different. And if you using what do you call it? If you're measuring the speed of your load, you're going to get a lower velocity. So black powder needs some resistance to build that powder and burn efficiently. Now, I'm not a scientist, so I'm not sure how this works, but that's how it seems to me. And you can try and see for yourself. But I watch YouTube videos just like you guys, and a lot of times I hear guns go off with a bang that just doesn't sound right. And I think it's because we're not having enough resistance to build that pressure and make that black powder go off the way it's supposed to. And that's part of the explanation. If you read old loading data for old muskets, and they used some scary heavy powder charges in them. But you have to remember they used very loose fitting round balls, and this paper cartridge didn't really seal anything, so you had a lot of windage, which is the blow by of the gases that will pass the round ball on its way out. If you're going to use a loose fitting ball and no wadding hardly, then you're going to depend on a pretty stout powder charge to make it work the way it should. But if you read those old ancient loading data and use today's modern powder, and then maybe use a tight fitting round ball with a patch on it and shove that down in your round vest or something, you're in for a surprise. So be careful what you're doing. Start low, and what I like to do, I like to start low, and then judging by the sound and the feel and the velocity, I'll develop that load into something that acts like a gun and not a toy. And then I'll leave it. I don't want to push my limits any further than that. But these ancient military loads were heavy. Okay, I have a few videos out there with cartridge shotguns, a couple of really rare ones, and I plan to make a few more because I got 4 more interesting shotguns, so keep an eye out for those. And it is my favorite guns are smoothbore muzzle loaders, and my recent interest in cartridge shotguns are much because of that, because what I'm doing here really is loading them the same way as I would a muzzle loader. So, and I think that's kind of cool. It works. So I guess thinking hard if there's something I left out. If I can think of anything, I'll try to include it in my next videos when I'm shooting with these shotguns. So, but go ahead and try this. Be careful. See what you think, and feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. See you.